Hello guys, so we will start for the today's session then. So today in this session we will be continuing with the steam nozzles which I have done like in the last class. I have explained you something regarding the steam nozzles. Here and there I have explained you the things. So in this session I will be explaining you the derivation related to that and the what problems related to that. Okay, so before starting to the derivation, we'll just recapitulate the last class which we have done. So based on that we'll continue with the other class. Okay,
This conference will now be recorded.
anybody please reply me whether like can you see the screen? Any one of you please reply me back. Yeah, can you see my screen? Yeah, okay, fine.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we have seen in the last session, have shown you some definitions regarding the steam nozzle. Yes, wet steam, dry steam, superheated steam. Okay, degree of superheat, nozzle, what is nozzle, coefficient of nozzle, critical pressure ratio, all these definitions I have explained you in the last session. Okay, so now in this session I have explained you about the Mollier chart also. Yes, correct? Have I explained it or no? Anyone? Pavitra, Pooja?
Sir, I did not attend the class, sir, that day.
Okay, fine. Just check whether this recording is available. Okay, fine. So this I think I have explained this Mollier chart and enthalpy entropy diagram as well. So flow of steam, yes, I remember that this has been explained. Types of nozzles has been explained. Okay, so I think now we have to start. I think somebody I had given this assignment for you to apply the continuity and the steady flow energy equation for the nozzle. Okay, so that with that help only we can do the things. Okay, so just I will be showing here. Okay, so let us consider this as section 1. This is section 2. Okay, so what is that steady flow energy equation? Says you the total amount of energy inlet is equal to the total amount of energy outlet. Okay, so with that help we can say that h1 plus c1 square plus 2 c1 square by 2 plus zz1 plus q is equal to h2 plus c2 square by 2 plus zz2 plus w. So this is what the energy flow equation states you. Okay, so for nozzles the change in potential energies are negligible, so this w is equal to 0 and the amount of heat transferred is also equal to 0. So only remaining thing is what? h1 plus c1 square by 2 is equal to h2 plus c2 square by 2. Normally what happens if we consider, I said that nozzle is a device which is used for increasing its velocity. So that means what? The velocity over here v1 and with the velocity is at or c1, sorry I will use the word term c1 only, c1 and c2, the velocity at inlet is c1 and the velocity at outlet is c2. So this velocity when we compare with this outlet velocity, 100% this will be lesser than this. Yes or no? Because this is a device which increases the velocity. That means what? The inlet velocity is less, therefore we are increasing the outlet velocity furthermore. So for that reason we can say that C2 is a far more greater than C1. Yes, so for that reason we say that, actually it is not correct, but we say that if it is a ideal frictionless work, then we say that C1 is neglected when compared to C1. C1 is neglected compared to C2. So for that reason what we can write here is H1 minus H2, that is change in enthalpy, is equal to C2 square minus C1 square by 2. But if we consider this as negligible, then it becomes C2 square by 2, H1 minus H2. The enthalpy drop becomes C2 square by 2. But normally we have to consider the C1. There is no doubt about it. We cannot neglect it as like that. Because it is a friction work, everything we have to consider, and we have to consider the losses as well. So for that reason, we cannot neglect the C1. Okay. So now coming to effect of friction on nozzles. So what is the effect of friction on nozzles that we are going to see here? Entropy is increased, available energy is decreased, velocity of flow at throat is decreased, volume of the flowing steam is decreased, throat are necessary to discharge a given mass of steam is throat area necessary to the discharge a given mass of steam is increased. So these are the effect of friction. So just make a note of this, what will happen for the effect of friction. So what is happening here, if we consider the effect of friction on nozzle, the entropy will be increased, available energy, all these things will be considered while friction, if we consider the friction through the nozzle. Okay, so now coming to over here, so from this derivation, what we can write, C2 square equal to 2 H1 minus H2. Correct? Can I write this? Yes. So now C2 is equal to what? Root of 2 H1 minus H2. Yes. And we know that this H1 will be in kilojoules per kg. So for that reason, what this happens if we want to convert it into kg, so this becomes 2 into H1 minus H2 into 10 raised to 3. Correct? So for that reason, if we consider that further, this becomes what? C2 is equal to root of 2000 H1 minus H2. So what is root of 2000 here? 44.72 root of K H1 minus H2. If what is this K here? This is the friction coefficient. K is the friction coefficient. C2 is the friction coefficient. Okay. So C2 is equal to friction coefficient, that is 2000 root of 2000, 44.72 root of K H1 minus H2. So that becomes 44.72 root of K H1 minus H2. Yes. So this friction is about the reduce the available enthalpy drop by 10 to 15%. The velocity of steam will be this. Now, if this is what, if I neglect the C1, if I neglect C1, then this equation holds good. Otherwise, the equation will be what? C2 will be equal to 44.72 root of K. So what it will be? Sorry, C2 square. Just a second. Now, if I consider C2 square minus C1 square by 2 is equal to root of K H1 minus H2. Yes. Now, sorry, this K will not come. Okay. So C2 square minus C1 square is equal to 2K H1 minus H2. Correct. So C2 square is equal to 2K H1 minus H2 plus C1 square. Correct. So this becomes what completely? C2 will be equal to root of 2000 K. Just a second, I will just write it here. Okay. So this however they are showing it here only. Okay. So if velocity of steam at nozzle exit, so C2 square is equal to 2000 H1 minus H2 plus C1 square. Okay. So this becomes what? C2 equal to root of 2000 H1 minus H2 plus C1 square. Okay. So if we neglect this term, then only we will arrive at this 44.72 root of H1 minus H2 efficiency of nozzle. This also I have described in the last video, what is efficiency of nozzle. But if we neglect this, then only we will arrive at this equation. Otherwise, generally you have to consider this equation only. C2 is equal to what? Root of 2000 H1 minus H2 plus C1 square. This has to be considered, otherwise we cannot go through the things. Okay, so this is the important thing you should know here, that the what this the velocity at the exit is equal to 2000 H1 minus H2 plus C1 square. Just a second, I think guys, can you hear me? Hello? Anyone reply, please? Can you hear me? Because I lost the connection.
Yes, sir.
Now you can hear me.
Yes, sir.
Fine. I will continue this here. Can you guys see my screen?
It's getting black.
Just a second. Is it now visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I was here, so that we have arrived at an equation for the velocity of the steam at the exit. So this is an important thing, you should know this one. Okay, so the velocity of steam at exit when we consider the inlet velocity, and the velocity of the steam at the exit when we neglect the inlet velocity. Two equations are over here. Okay, so now I will go with some of the problems here. This I have taken it from the VTU website, some of the problems on can you see this one? Can you see the screen, guys?
Yes, sir. We can.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So this is the problem related to the basic equation which we have just derived it. Okay, so just go through this one here. Dry steam at 10 bar and 100 meter per second enters a nozzle and leave it with velocity of 300 meter per second at 5 bar. Okay, so what they are saying here, so the dry steam at 10 bar and 100 meter per second enters a nozzle and leaves it with a velocity of 300 meter per second at 5 bar. So that means here the inlet velocity and the inlet pressure is what? 10 bar and 100 meter per second. And what is the leaving here? 300 meter per second is the outlet velocity and 5 bar is the outlet pressure. For 16 kg per mass of steam, mass flow rate determine the heat drop in nozzle and final state of steam leaving the nozzle, assuming heat loss to the surroundings as 10 kilojoules per kg. So this is what it has been given in the question. So let's start with the thing here. C1 is 100 meter per second, C2 is 300 meter per second, P1 is 10 bar, that is 1 megapascal, and P2 is 0.5 megapascal. So using this basic equation, so here we'll neglect the Q and W here. So this is okay. So here we can see here H1 plus C1 square by 2 plus Q, H2 plus C2 square by 2 plus W. So this is what? 10 bar, 100 meter per second, 16 kg per second, 5 bar and 300 meter per second. Okay, here there is no work, so W is equal to 0 and heat loss Q is equal to minus 10 kilojoules per kg. They had given it. So Q is equal to what? H2 minus H1 plus C2 square minus C1 square by 2. Okay, so from steam tables you have to check what is the steam table. Anybody has the steam table with you guys? If you have, please check this one. H1, what is the pressure? Sorry, enthalpy. Hg you check. Steam, gaseous form. H2 minus H1 plus C2 square minus C1 square by 2. So H1 equal to Hg at 1 megapascal, 2778.1 kilojoules per kg. Okay, so now H2 minus H1 equal to Q plus C1 square minus C2 square by 2. They had given here H2 minus H1 is minus 3000. Heat drop in nozzle is 30 kilojoules per kg. So H2 is what? 2741.1 kilojoules per kg. So at 5 bar pressure, what is HF and what is HFG you check. Okay, so what is the dryness fraction? So HF, this formula you know, HF equal to HG, correct, HF plus XHFG. HG equal to HF plus XHFG. That we can see it from here. So using that we will get the X2 equal to 0.99. Dryness fraction at exit is 0.99. Okay, so this is one way of doing it. The other way is you can directly check this with Mollier chart. Okay, so what is this Mollier chart is? So I'll just help you out. If anybody has the Mollier chart, please refer it such that it becomes easy. C1 is 100, C2 is that I don't want. P1 is 10 bar, P2 is 0.5 megapascal minus 10 kilojoules. Pascal. We don't have one more thing, I guess. Temperature we don't have, right? If temperature is given, we can use the two things we need for find anything in the Mollier chart. Two items are required here: 10 bar, 100 meter second. Okay, so here this is there is no what temperature is given, only the pressure has been given here. So if we have two, at least 2 points, we can find the things, everything's in the what Mollier chart. The second, I think the second example is like that only. Determine the mass flow rate of the steam through a nozzle having isentropic flow through it. Steam enters nozzle at 10 bar, 500 degrees Celsius. See, we can see here that steam enters the nozzle So we can see here they had given it is 10 bar 500 degrees Celsius as the inlet pressure and temperature, and leaves at 6 bar. Cross sectional area at exit of the nozzle is 20 centimeter square. Velocity of steam entering the nozzle may be considered negligible. Show the process on HS diagram. They are just asking for the process. We can find some of the things which is there. Okay, so determine the mass flow rate of the steam through a nozzle having isentropic flow through it. So what is the type of flow here? It is the isentropic flow. What do you mean by isentropic flow? The entropy remains same throughout the process. That is what it has been shown here. Okay, so we can see here this is the enthalpy entropy diagram, that is Mollier chart. So the inlet is what? H1 3740.5. that we will get it from the Mollier chart. Just a second, just write the datas. So what is the here? Having isentropic flow through it. Steam nozzles at 10 bar 500 degrees Celsius, leaves at 6 bar cross sectional area. Okay, so steam enters at 10 bar and 500 degrees Celsius. Steam enters the nozzle at 10 bar and 500 degrees Celsius. So that means what? The inlet temperature and pressure is, inlet pressure P1 is equal to P1 is equal to 10 bar and T1 is 500 degree Celsius. So we can see here this is 10 bar. There is the temperature line here which is 500 degrees Celsius. They will meet at one point. That point you have to check and make that as the first point, point 1. And then they are saying that it is isentropically flowing through the nozzle. 20 velocity of steam nozzle may be negligible. Show the process on HS diagram. Till what state they had not mentioned here. Determine the mass flow rate of steam through nozzle, isentropic flow through it. Steam nozzles at 10 bar 500 degrees Celsius and leaves at 6 bar. Yeah, they have given that it is leaving at the 6 bar pressure. So inlet pressure is 10 bar and temperature is 500 degrees Celsius. You will get a point. Now from that point you just draw a straight line such that it meets at this 6 bar pressure. Okay, so 500 degrees Celsius, and 10 bar is the inlet condition, isentropic flow, it goes to the 6 bar pressure. So that is what the isentropic flow is. Okay, go through the Mollier chart, you will get this point H2. This is the H1, this is the H2. So what is H1 and S1? You will get it from the things. Okay, So due to isentropic expansion, S1 equal to S2. So at the exit, S1 will be S2 will be equal to this much. Same in the same S1 S2. Okay. So now till it intersects 6 bar line. Okay. So then it becomes S2 will get what they're asking for. And leaves at 6 bar. Cross sectional area at the exit of nozzle is 20 centimeters square. Velocity of steam entering the nozzle may be considered negligible. Show the process on HS diagram. That's it. Determine the mass flow rate of steam. Okay, they are asking for the mass flow rate of steam. Till it intersects else from steam table, it can be okay, and we'll get it from the steam table, not required. So H2 will get directly here. This all steps is not at all required here for you. If you are using the Mollier chart, you can just neglect all these steps. You will get directly come from the H2. H2 will obtain it directly. Okay, neglecting the steam, C2 equal to H2, H1, H2, C2 will get. Mass flow rate is what? A2 C2 by V2. Specific volume at exit. Again, this is also not required if you are using the mass flow rate. This much of calculations can be removed, eliminated very much easily. For example, see here, this much of calculation is eliminated if we are using Mollier chart. If we are using Mollier chart, this much of calculation is neglected. We can remove off all this calculation. We can just do directly from the thing. I will just show you that. Okay, one example I will show you. This one only. Just a second. I will do it in the PPT very easily. That becomes helpful. Okay, determine the mass flow rate through the nozzle having isentropic flow through it. Steam enters a nozzle at 10 bar 500 degrees Celsius. This much we should remember, and the area is 20. 10 520. Okay, with the help of that, I'm just so the inlet pressure is how much here? The inlet temperature and pressure 10 bar 500 degrees Celsius was the inlet temperature and pressure. Okay, so then what else? 20 centimeters square is the exit area. Guys, please go through this, very important. I am comparing the problem which has been done earlier with the help of the Mollier chart. If we use the Mollier chart, how our problems become simple, that I am making a comparison over here. Okay, so they have done the calculative way by using the steam table, everything they have calculated it through the calculative way. I am just showing you how can we do the problem just by using the Mollier chart without doing anything else. Okay, without doing any calculation here, by the help of Mollier chart we can get the things. Okay, how it is, let's see here. So let us say this is the Mollier chart. 10 bar 500 degrees Celsius and exit temperature, exit pressure was 6 bar. Okay, so somewhere here it will come here, 10 bar 500 degrees Celsius. Okay, so this is what the inlet temperature and pressure. Now it is expanding isentropically, expands isentropically. From this point, take a straight line, use your scale, draw a straight line from this point such that it should meet 6 bar line. Okay, from this you will get H1, H2. H1 you will get, H2 you will get. Okay, so from this, what is H1, H2, you note it down. Can anybody help me? Is there any person who is actually seeing this Mollier chart? Please reply. Anybody? Anybody using the Rishabh? You are using it?
No, so it's not there in my data handbook.
Ah, very good. Anybody else who is using the data handbook? Steam tables, at least steam tables also there is a Mollier chart. Please check in the steam tables also it is there. Okay, helpless then. Okay, so this is what H1 and this is what H2. So this is 10 bar, 15 bar, 500 degrees Celsius. This is 6 bar. So you will get what is H1, what is H2. These values you will get it from the data handbook, also from the Mollier chart. Okay, now we know this. They are saying that neglect inlet velocity. Neglect inlet velocity. So for that reason, if we neglect that inlet velocity, what it becomes, C2 is equal to 44.72 root of H1 minus H2. Okay, so please put this in the kilowatt joules per kg only. So because we have already converted that kilojoules outside, so that is what root of H1 minus H2. So if you substitute, if you are getting confused, if it is in kilojoules, you have to substitute it in kilojoules and all. So at that point, what you can do, you can just write this as 2 into H1 minus H2, where you can directly substitute it in the whatever it is there, you can convert it and then you can substitute it. Here you can directly substitute the volumes. For example, if it is 63 kilojoules per kg, directly substitute here 63. You need not to make the conversions because we have already done that conversion and we have taken that 44.72. If you are using this formula, then you have to convert the things again. You have to do all those things. I think better to use this formula where the conversion is not required. We have already converted. You just substitute whatever the value you are saying here, you just substitute in this things. Okay, so C2 you will get. So after getting the C2, there comes the one more issue here. So if we get C2, what is the mass is given by A2 C2 by specific volume V2. A2 C2 by specific volume. So A2 C2 gives you the discharge. That is what discharge will be in what, meter cube per second, correct? This will be in meter cube per second. Discharge it will give. What is V2? V2 gives you specific volume, that is kg meter cube per kg, correct? So meter cube goes off, kg goes up, seconds come down, kg per second. You will get the mass flow rate very easily. So for that reason, A2 they had given that it is 20 centimeter square. Convert this, so that becomes 20 into 10 raised to minus 4 meter square. Okay, what is C2? C2 is what, you just substitute in this H1 and H2, you will get the C2 value. How you will get the V2 value? There is specific volume lines also in the Mollier chart. There is specific volume lines also. Please check what is this point lying in between and take that approximate specific volume, so that you can substitute here and you will get the answer. That's as simple as that. So you will get this mass. Only within 3 steps I am completing this whole problem. Whereas here you can see that it consists of lots of things here. So S1 and S2 they have found out, entropy they have checked, from the entropy they have calculated T2 temperature, which is not at all required. All this, actually this is not at all required in steam nozzles. Why we have to do unnecessary calculation when we have the Mollier chart? So that Mollier chart is, we can use the Mollier chart and we can do the problem. Have they mentioned anywhere like we should not use the Mollier chart here? No. Such questions will not arrive. Only that you cannot use the show the process on HS diagram means we can use, if we are showing it, we can use that Mollier chart also. So using the Mollier chart, this whole problem which they have done here, 2 pages of problem, I am just reducing in a half page just by usage of the Mollier chart. Therefore I am saying you the importance of the Mollier chart is very much more here. So if you know to read the Mollier chart, your problems will be solved here. Just substitute and you will get the problems. Are you understanding these things, guys? Anybody has any doubt? You want anything? You can ask. No doubts.
No, sir.
Huh?
No doubt, sir.
No doubts, huh? Okay.
Huh.
Somebody else? Okay then, guys, so this is for the today's session. So here we have seen the steam nozzles basic problems. So next class I will be doing the derivation. Based on the derivation we'll be doing the problems. Okay, I think at least from the next class onwards you should have the what Molière chart, otherwise it becomes very difficult for you guys to follow me. Okay, so I will be completing the steam nozzles by next class. Okay, so I will just okay, so I will send you the notes through the WhatsApp. Okay.
This
Fine.
conference is no longer being recorded.
Okay, fine. Okay. Shall I end the meeting then? I will see you in the next class. Anything else you want to say?